All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time. We're here to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside the ring, backstage curtain calls, new rumors, and some awesome, juicy drama. We talk about, superstar and active statuses, injury updates, contract negotiations, extensions, and new signings. We talk about promotions from AEW to WWE, Ring of Honor to TNA. If it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show, 1,010%. So do not miss, don't miss a single frame, guys. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. All right, so we recently talked about some WWE NXT in our first segment. We talked about AEW Dynamite in our second and our third. We're going to honor the legacy of Eddie Guerrero, who tragically passed away 19 years ago today. But before we get into that, obviously, guys, give some super chats. Obviously, want to definitely know how you guys feel about this next segment and the impact that Eddie Guerrero has kind of forever had in terms of professional wrestling. Definitely want to hear how you guys definitely viewed Eddie's his everything in terms of him being on WWE, WCW, ECW, the CMLL. So yeah, don't be too shy to kind of join the fray. All right, Eddie Guerrero passed away 19 years ago to today, November 13th, 2005. He was found unresponsive in his hotel room due to heart failure, which obviously was, attributed to, his past substance abuse struggles and addiction, with pills. Speculations on, steroids obviously was, back then it was a real concern. Steroids back in the day in terms of professional wrestling. Nowadays, I don't really see like I don't know. I don't really see it. Obviously, I could be wrong. Sometimes they have more of a stricter policy in terms of performance enhancing drugs inside the world wrestling entertainment. So I feel like right now I don't want to jinx or anything like that. But maybe this era of steroid use in professional wrestling has been put to bed, which is great, which is good because a lot of people were dying young. A lot of people have died young. It's just it's very hard. It's very hard to make it in this cutthroat industry that was professional wrestling, especially during the Vince McMahon era, where people were literally fighting injured. These guys were literally, hey, if you look bigger, badder, and stronger than the other guy, guess what? You're going to get paid more money. You're going to get more television time. And, at the time you're a wrestler and you're like, damn, if I get injured or if I'm not on television time, I think about my family. I have a family. I have a wife and kid, man. Guess what? If I'm doing harm to my body, it's all good because I'm paying the bills, putting bread on the table, and feeding my family. So a lot of stars kind of threw caution to the wind and basically said, "F it." You know what I mean? Like, let's whatever happens, happens. I'm gonna become all I can be, but I guess I feel like nowadays steroids has definitely been a declining substance in all of professional wrestling. So definitely, happy to kind of report on that. So, obviously you've seen a lot of young deaths, and it's just tragic. It sucks. His death was an absolute bombshell. Came as a complete shock from his magnetic charisma to his ability to have the fans hang on to every single word he was saying as a heel, as a babyface. The fans related to this guy. They loved themselves some Eddie Guerrero. They were his biggest fan when he was a babyface. They were his biggest fan when he was being a jerk, when he was being a heel. He was just all around just the perfect professional wrestler. And definitely if he didn't pass away, I feel like he would still be doing things in WWE right now. Also helping a lot of Latino wrestlers kind of make it onto the WWE brand. Guerrero's impact in WWE and his legacy is obviously still shown today. You see Dominic Mysterio paying tribute to him with his hair and the frog splash, and obviously Mercedes Monet, that was her idol, Eddie Guerrero. And you see people like using the frog splash, obviously still paying respects to Eddie Guerrero. Rey Mysterio, obviously another name that, he still reps the Eddie Guerrero band sometimes. And, they should, you know what I mean? Eddie Guerrero tragically passed away and he had so much left to fight inside the ring. He was young. I think he was 38, I believe he was. And he had so much left, and it's just Like I said, it's tragic. Kind of crazy. It kind of sucks, and never. I wish it would have never happened, but it is what it is. Obviously, thoughts and prayers and condolences to his family. Who, he's such a remarkable man that still to this day, I'd be like, damn, like what I mean, we lost a good one here. Eddie's story reminds people that you can absolutely do anything with powerful determination, perseverance, and passion. So then definitely one thing that Eddie Guerrero had in on screen or behind the curtain was passion, enthusiasm, was to get people, not just the audience members of WWE, had personnel. Every wrestler loved Eddie Guerrero, like everybody. It was he was literally one of the most liked guys in the back. And once when you can tell, like when Eddie Guerrero had that tribute, everybody was just a wreck. Everybody was crying. It was crazy. I remember watching that episode. I remember hearing when I got home from school. I remember, I think it was my sister who had. I think it was like it was online. It was online when we had a computer, and she was like, Eddie Guerrero died. And I remember getting home, and I was like, what? Like that doesn't make sense. That's not true. I was in eighth grade. No, I think I was in seventh grade. I think I was in seventh grade. Kind of like the tippity point of once when I was like fully engaging into WWE things. I was into the Attitude Era, and I was, kind of touched on the Ruthless Aggression Era, a little bit. But then I took a little break, and then I eventually came back to it during like the late 2000s. And I don't know, it was a shocker. It was a shocker because Eddie, when you look at these WWE wrestlers, they look fit. I'm like, dude, he's healthy. How the hell does a guy like this have a heart attack? And obviously now, as a growing up and stuff like that, but as a kid, I was devastated. I cried, man. I gotta be honest. I shed a tear. He was one of my favorite wrestlers, and when you kind of, when you grow up and you kind of have wrestling in your household and it kind of becomes a natural everyday thing to watch Monday Night Raw, to watch SmackDown, and the pay-per-views together as a family. It's kind of like you lost a family member. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't just a wrestler you would see on TV. A lot of the times he was a source of inspiration for a lot of people watching television. And I'm not just speaking in terms of myself. A lot of wrestling fans obviously loved watching Eddie Guerrero. A lot of upcoming wrestlers in the independent wrestling circuit loved watching this guy because he literally, his story was so powerful because he made it through the independent circuits. He made it through an edgy ECW. He made it through a WCW brand that was falling, and then he made it starting in WWF/WWE. He got injured from the get-go, breaking his arm, and from through with the Radicals. And I'm not just, it's just it's crazy. It's crazy. He was released in WWE in 2001 after being arrested for driving under the influence. He overcame his addiction, obviously a huge wake-up call, and became the WWE champion after defeating Brock Lesnar at the No Way Out PLE in 2004. He inspired, he inspired anybody from any demographic, to pursue your dream. Also, like I said, like within independent fighting circuit as well, people who wanted to go to WWE, he kind of, was like a beacon of hope. He joined WWE in 2000, leaving WCW, which was probably was a great choice. He was alongside his close friends Chris Benoit, Perry Saturn, Dean Malenko. They were the Radicals. I remember they were brought on by Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, to kind of help him go up against the McMahon Helmsley era here, with D-Generation X and stuff like that. He was kind of like a mischievous character portrayed, the lie, cheat, and steal, and Viva la Raza. Eddie Guerrero began his career in the Consejo Mundial de Lucha Libre, obviously CMLL, which is a lot easier for me to say because I can't roll my damn R's. Like, damn it. Also, he was in ECW, WCW in the early 1990s. He was great. He was great. He was born on October 9th, 1967 in El Paso, Texas. His father was a wrestling legend, Gory Guerrero. His like I said before, the best thing about Eddie Guerrero was kind of like the storylines, kind of like poetry in motion, kind of like art. That's what professional wrestling is. Sometimes you go to like a play, you go to a concert, or you go to like a ballet, or you go to like a dance thing or whatever, and you sometimes you kind of don't. From an outside perspective, you can't really think outside the box because you're like, okay, what am I really watching? Or sometimes you go to like an orchestra. I remember the first time I went to an orchestra, I was like, I got tickets. I want tickets on the radio, and I was like, man, it's gonna suck, dude. I don't want to see some guy blowing on a trumpet for freaking 3 hours. I'm out. I don't want it. I don't want to do it. And then and then I went, and man, it was beautiful. It was nice. And when somebody really perfects an art form, and it could be about anything, it could even happen in sports. Like if you see, like when you watch Michael Jordan play, or LeBron James, or Magic Johnson, or Hakeem Olajuwon, whoever you want to, or when you see Tom Brady take a snap as the court. I'm just kidding. A lot of people hate Tom Brady because he stole so many Super Bowls from people, but he didn't steal my Super Bowls. I'm a New York Giants fan, so we beat that guy twice. But anyways, sometimes if someone's really just good at what they do, people just fall in love with him. The art form, when he was inside the ring, he told a story. He told a story. He helped fans through rough times. Sometimes when you're going through some stuff, you turn on something to distract you, and then bam, bam, there was professional wrestling. From his failures to overcoming those failures, story of redemption, and a shot at everlasting wrestling icon royalty. That's basically what Eddie Guerrero's legacy was in the world of professional wrestling. All right, so moving on, we're going to talk about our fourth segment. We have artificial intelligence determines a WCW/WWE dream match outcomes. It was a little wonky. I read an article, and we're going to talk about it when we come back. So do not go anywhere.